And welcome to Ducks No Sports. This week, I'm previewing Week 12 of the CFL. Yes, it's already Week 12. The season's flown by. It's been a very interesting season with a lot of interesting matchups this week. But we'll start with our first match of the week. As the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, coming off a tough loss to the Rough Riders, go to Cowtown to take on the Calgary Stampeders. You know, to say Winnipeg's a mess right now might be an understatement, man. This team is just a mess from top to bottom. I mean, Tim Burke, who's had a bad 2 weeks as the head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, his first week as head coach, loses 52-0. Of course, last week had a chance to win the game near the end. You know, had a very long field goal, but still a makeable field goal. Decided to punt the ball and never got the ball back. Big mistake, and he's on the gun right now. It's hard to say an interim coach is under the gun, but he clearly is right now. This whole organization's on the gun. You know, last year we're a miracle team. You know, went to the Grey Cup, and clearly no Grey Cup this year. Probably no playoffs this year. This team from top to bottom's a mess. You know, Buck Pierce has been cleared to play. It'll be interesting if he plays this week. Sounds like they're still going to go with Elliott, which I think might be the right choice, because I think at this point, with the season basically over, Winnipeg could just see what they have in the future in a Joe Elliott, and if he plays well down the stretch, and you have a new starting quarterback for next year. If he doesn't, then maybe next year you go back to Buck Pierce. Will be interesting. But this team from top to bottom all year has been bad. I mean, they can't really get anything going on offense, just like last year, and their defense is just horrendous right now. And I expect it to continue this week because they're playing a Calgary Stampeder team who's actually playing pretty well right now. With John Cornish, in my opinion, is clearly the best running back in the CFL and might just take a run at being the most outstanding player in the league this year against Travis Lulay. I mean, this guy has just been a beast the last part of the season. I mean, he seems to get 150 yards a game on the ground, which is ridiculous, you know, and catches a few balls out of the backfield and gets a few yards in the air. And this guy seems to has a nose for the end zone. I just love the way this guy's playing. I love the way Kevin Glenn's playing, because he's just moving the chains and doing what a veteran QB has to do. And let's be honest, if Drew Tate was still the starting quarterback for the Stampeders, we'd be talking them in the BC Lions and in the Western Final, and obviously one of the best teams in the CFL, which Calgary's been the last few weeks. And I expect to continue this week. I expect Kevin Glenn to keep moving the chains. I expect John Cornish to keep being a beast, and that defense to do what that defense does, which is get in QB's face and make it a havoc for Joe Elliott all game. And I expect the Calgary Stampeders to walk away with this one in a beatdown fashion, as I think the Stampeders win by 3 scores. And our next game is a struggling Edmonton Eskimos travel to the struggling Hamilton Tiger Cats. Should be an interesting one. Let's start with Edmonton. You know, the last few weeks they haven't played awful, but they haven't played great. They haven't played good enough to win, but they have been going against Calgary, you know, really tight games. Could have won either one of those games the last 2 weeks, but didn't get it done. And with Stephen Giles ready to go this week, will they go back to Stephen Giles, or will they stick with Kerry Joseph? In my opinion, I think you got to stick with Kerry Joseph. He's played great since he's become the starter there, and I really expect Kerry Joseph to continue. And I really like Kerry Joseph, the way he's playing. And if they can run the ball with this 3-headed monster, I think they could be effective. And on defense, yes, they've struggled, but their defense kept them in games all year round. I still think Edmonton has the best defense in the league, going against a pretty good offense with the Tiger Cats, but I expect Edmonton to have a good week this week, because they're playing a team in Hamilton where the sky has fallen. And clearly, a couple weeks ago we were talking Grey Cup contenders. We ain't talking that no more, because this Tiger Cat team just has a great offense. I will say Hamilton Tiger Cats have a beautiful offense. I mean, can really move the chains, but the inconsistency that Henry Burris has shown the last few weeks, it shows why he got benched in Calgary last year. You know, same things, you know, inconsistent play. And I don't really like the way he's playing right now. And this whole Tiger Cat team, you know, they have fallen and they cannot get up. As, you know, they can't really run the ball as effective as they could. You know, the passing game seems to goes in and out. You know, Sam Shiger, who was brought in to be a big play threat, has been everything but. You know, has really been a bust his first year with the Tiger Cats. And their defense, what more can you say? They're the worst defense in the league. Like, give me a worse defense league. You can't show me one. They're just, you know, they seem like they're afraid to tackle at times. They seem like they're afraid to tackle at times. I really don't like the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And I expect their slide to continue because I think the Edmonton Eskimos are going to go in there. They're going to pack their defense. And I think they're going to run the ball effectively. I think Kerry Joseph's going to do just enough to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I expect it to be close, but I think the Edmonton Eskimos beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats by a field goal late. And our next matchup could be a preview of the Grey Cup as the Toronto Argonauts travel to BC, take on the BC Lions. And last time these teams played a couple weeks ago. Really Toronto could see that they had a lot of places to improve as they just weren't there yet to compete with the big boys in the league like the BC Lions. And Toronto has come a long way since then. Back-to-back wins over Hamilton where the basically games were even close, especially last week. Just kicked their ass from start to finish. They can, since Corey Boyd's left, it's been like a breath of fresh air. They can really still run the ball effectively, and I think it's a better team chemistry right now. And every week, Ricky Ray just gets a little better, gets to know his offense just a little bit more. And Toronto Argonauts are rolling right now. In my opinion, are a dark horse to win the Grey Cup right now, and I'll say it, I think they're the best team in the East right now. I think them and Montreal are the best two teams in the East. And Toronto Argonauts can beat Montreal. This Toronto Argonaut team, to me, can beat any team on any given day. And they're going against the juggernaut called the BC Lions. BC is playing, a couple weeks ago we talked about them struggling against the Montreal West. Well, they did anything but last week, as they just kicked BC from start to finish. And I expect this is the BC will receive the rest of the year. It's always good through the year to get bumped down a little. That's what they were a couple weeks ago in Montreal, but I know the Argonauts come a long way, but I still expect the BC Lions to beat the Toronto Argonauts this week, and I expect this one to be a tight, close game, but I think this game could even go to overtime, but I still expect the BC Lions to beat the Toronto Argonauts this week. Will be a good game, and it's probably be the game of the week, in my opinion, the red-hot Saskatchewan Roughriders, I should add. Travel to Montreal to take on the beast of the each, Montreal Alouettes. We'll start with Saskatchewan here. Very impressive the last couple weeks against Winnipeg, just being down a couple weeks ago. And last year, sneaking out a win, blowing a lead, but still coming back in the game to win the game. Very impressive. And this team, week after week, continues to be good. They really depend a lot on their backup QB last week, and Drew Willie really played well for them. And I expect that to continue. If Drew Willie has to go this week, I really expect that to continue because I really like this kid. I really think he is the future of Saskatchewan Roughriders. And like I've said for the last year and a bit, Kevin Durant has fallen off a bit. So I don't expect Kevin Durant to be the star there much longer. I expect it to be Drew Willie time. And I think this week will be interesting because you're going against a Montreal team who a lot of people come here thought they were a little old and a little slow, and they showed at the start of the year how they were old and slow, but just the last month and a half, they've just really brought their game, really playing well right now. Calvillo playing like one of the greatest QBs to ever play this game, which he is. This defense playing great, and this offense just unreal. They can run the ball, they can beat you in the air or on the ground. Very impressive, kind of a dual threat. And I know Saskatchewan's red hot, but I think this is where their streak will end because I think just Montreal is just too big, too bad, and too powerful right now for the Rough Riders. And I expect the Montreal Alouettes to come out with a win in this one against the Rough Riders. And the Rough Riders better keep tracking because, remember, the Rough Riders probably will not make the playoffs in the West, but you still have a chance of the East crossover with the Tiger Cats playing so bad. But that being said, I still think Montreal Alouettes will get the win in this one. Well, that's it for this week, but stay tuned because the playoffs are almost here, and playoffs about a month away, and I cannot wait. Playoffs will be good. And until next time, I'm Aaron Duxbury saying I'm Dux, and I know sports. Canada.